Alright, let's talk India. Specifically that awkward time when Britain popped in uninvited and decided to stick around for, about 2 centuries. Imagine showing up at a party, eating all the snacks, then declaring yourself the host. That was the British Raj in a nutshell. It all started innocently enough with the East India Company, a bunch of entrepreneurial Brits who really liked tea and apparently had no concept of personal space. They set up shop in the 1700s, and before you could say chai latte, they were running the whole show. Of course, being ruled by some dudes thousands of miles away who think your entire culture is a bit exotic isn't exactly a recipe for national happiness. But hey, at least they left us with cricket, right? And by left us, I mean introduced a sport that would later be used to inflict crushing defeats upon England in international tournaments. Karma's a funny thing, isn't it? By the early 20th century, India was basically a pressure cooker ready to burst. Enter a certain spectacled lawyer with a penchant for simplicity and a knack for leading revolutions. Now let's talk about the man of the hour, or rather the decades, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Even his name sounds peaceful, doesn't it? It's like a mantra for chilled-out revolution. Gandhi wasn't always the iconic Mahatma, great soul for those of you who haven't dipped into your Sanskrit dictionaries lately. He started out as a fairly average dude, studied law, went to South Africa, probably tried to figure out how to fold a fitted sheet, a struggle that transcends time and place. Here's the thing about South Africa, it was like a crash course in injustice for young Mohandas. He experienced firsthand the sting of racism and discrimination, and let's just say it didn't sit well with him. This was his Luke Skywalker trains with Yoda moment, except instead of wielding lightsabers, he was wielding the power of non-violent resistance. Gandhi returned to India in 1915, a changed man with a plan, and some seriously minimalist fashion choices. Little did he know, he was about to become the most famous loincloth-wearing lawyer in history. So, Gandhi's back in India and he's ready to shake things up. But, how do you overthrow an empire without resorting to, actual overthrowing? Enter Satyagraha, Gandhi's own brand of non-violent resistance. It's basically the ultimate passive-aggressive approach to revolution, but instead of leaving angry notes on the fridge, you're leading mass protests and refusing to cooperate with your oppressors. One of Gandhi's greatest hits was the Salt March of 1930. The British had a monopoly on salt production, which in a country where curry is practically its own food group is just bad form. So Gandhi decided to walk 240 miles to the sea and make his own salt like a boss. Thousands joined him, and the British were all, "Wait, you can't just make your own salt, it's illegal!" And Gandhi was all, "Try and stop me, mate." Spoiler alert, they couldn't. The Salt March became a global sensation, exposing the absurdity of British rule and turning Gandhi into an international icon. There were hunger strikes, boycotts of British goods, and enough non-violent protests to make even the most Zen yogi break a sweat. Gandhi was a master of turning everyday actions into acts of defiance, proving that you don't need guns and bombs to spark a revolution. Sometimes all you need is a spinning wheel and a whole lot of willpower. Section 4. Peace out, Empire. The power of non-violence. Mostly. Let's be real. Overthrowing an empire is messy business. Even when you're committed to non-violence, things can get out of hand. There were clashes, arrests, and moments when it seemed like the whole thing might descend into chaos. But through it all, Gandhi remained resolute, urging his followers to stay the course and resist the temptation to meet violence with violence. And it worked. The British, faced with relentless resistance and growing international pressure, finally realized that holding on to India was about as popular as a mosquito at a nudist colony. World War II further weakened their grip, and by the mid-1940s it was clear that the sun was setting on the British Empire, quite literally given the time zones involved. Section 5, 1947, Freedom at Last, Terms and Conditions Apply. August 15, 1947. A date etched in the annals of history, when India finally shook off the shackles of colonialism and took its rightful place on the world stage. Fireworks, celebrations, a whole subcontinent doing the victory dance, but let's not sugarcoat it, freedom came at a cost. The partition of India and Pakistan, a hasty and ill-conceived plan to divide the country along religious lines, led to one of the largest mass migrations in human history and unleashed waves of violence that claimed countless lives. Gandhi, ever the pacifist, was devastated by the bloodshed. He spent his final days urging peace and unity, a stark reminder that true freedom requires more than just political independence. It demands compassion, understanding, and a commitment to building a just and equitable society for all. Section 6. The Mahatma's afterlife inspiration, Incense, and everything in between. Gandhi was assassinated on January 30, 1948, a victim of the very hatred he dedicated his life to fighting. It was a tragic end, but his legacy, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, only grew stronger in death. Today Gandhi's image is everywhere, on currency, in textbooks, on those inspirational posters your aunt loves to share on Facebook. He's become a global symbol of peace, a testament to the power of non-violence, and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can triumph over hate. Of course, no one is without their flaws, and Gandhi was no exception. His views on certain social issues were, shall we say, a product of his time, but even his critics can't deny the profound impact he had on India and the world. Section 7. So, you want to be like Gandhi? Spoiler alert, it's hard. Gandhi's life and teachings offer valuable lessons for anyone seeking to make a difference. He taught us that true power lies not in wielding a weapon, but in wielding our own convictions. He showed us that change is possible even against seemingly insurmountable odds. And he reminded us that even in the face of injustice we must never surrender our humanity. But let's be honest, living up to Gandhi's ideals is about as easy as doing a headstand in a hurricane. It requires discipline, sacrifice, and an almost superhuman capacity for forgiveness. But even if we fall short of sainthood, which, let's face it, most of us will, we can still strive to embody his spirit in our own lives. So, the next time you're faced with injustice, whether it's a global crisis or just someone cutting you off in traffic, channel your inner Gandhi. Resist the urge to honk the horn or unleash a Twitter tirade. Take a deep breath, embrace the power of nonviolence, and remember the words of the Mahatma himself. Be the change you wish to see in the world.